So our first story is from Anthropic, and they're announcing this Project Glasswing, an urgent initiative to help secure the world's most critical software. It's powered by their newest frontier model, Claude Mythos, which can find software vulnerabilities better than all but the most skilled humans. So there's a lot to cover on this, but I'm just going to go over the main points, and you can look into it more if you're interested. But basically, they have this new model called Claude Mythos, which is about 10 trillion parameters is what is being reported, which compared to other frontier models, Elon actually said that like Sonnet and Opus are about 500 billion to 1 trillion parameters in their model, and kind of like the early models were about 70 billion to 300 billion was around the realm of what you could find open source, and then you could self-host, like the smaller ones like the 3 billion parameters. But nonetheless, there's been a lot of hype about this Claude Mythos LLM, but it seems to be very overhyped is what I'm hearing. There's a lot of pieces to this, but one of the main pieces as well is that they're not making it public for now. As you can see here, they do not plan to make Mythos preview generally available. Their goal is to deploy Mythos class models safely at scale, and they're giving access to these 16 companies at first, which is Apple, Broadcom, Cisco, CrowdStrike, Google, JP Morgan, Linux Foundation, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Palo Alto Networks. And basically they released a paper that said that they had solved a bunch of vulnerabilities. They found a 0-day vulnerability in like OpenBSD, which is for building Linux, I believe, and also other projects. I think FFmpeg, they shipped like some patches to the project. And Theo made a video where he was like, it's kind of the end of the world. I haven't watched the video yet, but people are responding as if like this is kind of the model that causes psychosis, basically, where people think now everything's done for. But the simplest counter to that is that you just look at the Claude uptime. They're only like 98%, and they've had access to this model internally since like late February. And people did like a deep dive on the paper that they solved, and basically it was kind of like tuned to solve a specific type of vulnerability that they found. I think it was like Firefox related, and they essentially found that if you took out that specific scenario, that specific vulnerability that they were working on, it went from like 150 vulnerabilities that I found to like 10 or something. So I don't have the exact numbers, like you'll have to look into it if you're interested, but this is one of those things where it seems like it's very capable, it seems like it's very ahead of its time, but in terms of results and what we've actually seen, like I wouldn't be too worried, and the hype is obviously going to be higher coming internally from Anthropic than it will be in the reality, and progress moves very slowly, so these things take time to develop, but very interesting nonetheless, and there will be a lot coming from this, I'm sure, moving forward into the future.